I'm live, I think. Let's just see. Okay. Come on. There we go. There's that bit. And change that from top chat to live chat. Okay. Right. Let's just check and make sure that everything's in frame. Need to lower that a little. Move that in a touch. Because we don't want my belly in the picture. Because that wouldn't be a good start, would it? That way a touch more. Okay, that'll have to do, methinks. I'll just have to duck my head to be able to see the live chat. Hello, good evening and welcome. I don't know if there's going to be many watching the live, to be fair, because I know that Mr. T was on earlier. I don't know whether he's still on. So I know that the majority of people will be like, they'll be over there, won't they? Rather than here. I don't blame him. He's far more interesting to watch than I am. But if you're here, please say hello. Hello, hello. Hello. Whoever you may be. Just have a slurp of my tea. Okay, look like there's... Oh, there we go. Marie's here. Hi there, Marie. From Tennessee. Nice to see you here. Thank you very much for joining us. Us being me, of course. You know, the royal we. Hi there, Pat. Nice to see you here too. And Janice, hello there, girls. You might not appreciate being called girls. Hello there, ladies. Hope you're all keeping well. Okay, I'm going to make a little bit of a start, but I will be saying hello to people as they come into the chat room. Okay, first things first. So, this is the project that I'm going to be working on in a live tonight and also tomorrow night as well. Okay, so I'm going to show you the basics of how to go about making this Kate Greenaway birthday book. Hi there, Sturdy. Oh, you're drawing and listening. Pat likes being called a girl. I think you get to a certain age, don't you? And you get past, like, yeah, whatever. So I'm call me younger than I actually am. That's fine. Now, we're going to be using this digital kit. And I've put these up temporarily. As in the information and the pictures are temporary. Because I put them quickly before I actually came on to do the live. They're already in my Etsy store. So if you haven't already purchased these, and the ladies from the Facebook group have already got theirs. So if you are not a member of the Facebook group, you can actually purchase these in my Etsy store. And I can't get the link because this laptop that I'm on won't let me access Etsy. I can only get it on the other laptop, which is in the other room. So if you look under any previous videos, you will see the link to my Etsy store. Okay, so I'll show you the digitals that we're going to use first. This is the first one, which creates the book. Okay, creates the book. And then there's two additional Kate Greenaway digitals, which are sold separately. Okay, so they're two separate doodads. Okay, so we'll go through the book one first, which is the one that we're going to be using this evening. So, flick them out. So this is the front cover of the book that we're going to be making. This is the inside of the front cover that we are going to be using. So you can see, very pretty pattern. It's a bit pixelated on my screen, so I don't know whether it's pixelated on yours and whether you can see it properly. These are little pockets that we're going to be using, and some more pockets, and each one of these is a month of the year. Then there's some more pretty paper, okay, which is a very sort of shabby chicy kind of paper. Some more papers that you can use for decorating the bags that we're going to be using. Then there's these little journaling cards, which are months of the year. Now, for me, that is a terrible, terrible picture that's all pixelated. Can you tell me what that looks like for you? Does it look like a proper image, or does it look all funny and twisted and distorted? Please, if you wouldn't mind, just let me know what you can see of that. I'm going to take that off because it's hurting my eyes. This next one is also got some more of the cards on, and some memoranda cards as well. Funny and twisted. Sorry about that, ladies. I can't change it. I don't know why it's so pixelated. So to me as well, this image, oh, there we go, it just straightened it itself out. Let me just put these back in. It might be because of the lines. Let me put that back in and see what it looks. No, oh yeah, so that's a better picture for me now. It suddenly refocused itself. So maybe you can see those a lot better now. I hope you can. So they're journaling cards with the months of the year on. There's some die cut images here as well. So there you go. It was the phone then. It wasn't focusing in properly, was it? So we've got some beautiful little die cut ladies there. And then there are some tags with wording on. So we've got follow your dreams, they know the ways. Just believe. Whatever you decide to do in life, make sure it makes you happy. And dream, believe, achieve. And then it's the same tags, but this time again without the wording on it. And then there's some pictorial images on the other sheet, which you can use as note cards. Okay, so that's the birthday book journaling kit, which is mainly what we're going to be utilizing today. Okay, I'm trying to do it slowly because I think the phone is, maybe it's on autofocus. Maybe I've nudged it onto autofocus and it's like it's taking its merry time. Okay, so also listed in Etsy are these two kits, which are sold separately from that one. And this one is the large tags and note cards. So again, I'm hoping that that is focusing in okay, because it looks a little bit blurry-murry. Okay, but very pretty anyway. So there's tags, and then there's some with a greenish background, green floral background. And then there's some large note cards. Okay, so there's a greeny version, a lemon version, olivey version. And then I've put two pieces in that are the backgrounds to the tags. Right, so you've got one to match that one. Hang on. So that you could use it as a backing sheet, and one to match that one So that's those 2 sheets. And then the last one has got these 3 larger images in, which can be used as pockets maybe, or long journaling cards, or even used on the front of long envelopes. Okay, so that's that one. And then the second one that's available with that one I've just shown you, these are just purely Kate Greenaway images that you can use as you want. So you could use them as pockets, you could use them as note cards, wherever your imagination takes you. You could use them on the front of envelopes. Okay, so there's that one. There's that one with the girls having tea. Afternoon tea. Little girl skipping. Little boy and girl at the seaside, stranded on a rock. They'll turn into mermaids. Kids picking the blackberries. Oh, I had to cut this one up for the photograph. So I love this one. The lady's taking an afternoon stroll. It's very posh, isn't it? Afternoon stroll. And then the little boy and girl dancing there. And then this one is the one with the Pied Piper and the 3 little girls underneath the umbrella. Okay, so those are the 3 kits that are available in the Etsy shop. Turn you round. Keep you sorted. Okay, let's get to this now. So what I'm going to start to do is we're going to start to make the cover and the inserts to be able to attach the paper bags, because this has been made with, let me get them out to show you, 6 of these paper bags. Alright, so these were included in the kit, which was available from my pop-up shop. But if you want to use your own paper bags, that's fine. And they're gusseted paper bags. Now these measure, helps if you use the right end of the ruler, Carol. There we go. So these measure 4 3/4 inches wide. Now the length of them from the bottom to the top is 10 3/4 inches in length, but obviously I'm going to cut these down to be smaller to fit into the journal itself. All right, and you need 6 of these. So if you're providing your own materials, you will need 6, but it's the width that is slightly more important, because obviously they need to fit within the cover. So as I say, the width on these is 4 3/4 inches. Okay, don't worry, Pat, it's fine. I'll add them into the description box after the live has finished. But thank you though for trying. So that's what we're going to be doing first. Okay, so I'll give you a quick flick through first so that you can kind of see. Now I haven't finished because I've been unwell. I've had one of my flare-ups, and I've had a bad chest infection which was quite low down in my lungs, and I've been on 2 lots of antibiotics and 2 lots of steroids. I'm coming to the end of it all, kind of. So hopefully I'll be all singing and dancing again next week. But it's when I get a flare-up, I just have to just sit and do nothing really. So yeah, so and that, and I've had two other important things I've had to deal with as well. So yeah, it's been a bit of a rubbishy week. So I haven't had a chance to do any more work on this, but you'll kind of get the gist. Okay, so we've got the front cover, we've got the spine, and we've got the back cover. All right, I included this ribbon in the kit, which is very, very pretty. It's beautiful shades of pinks, and it's got a metallic gold running through it as well. And if we open it, it kind of lays down flat. So I've got a pocket on the front here using one of the images. and then it's got each of the paper bags. Now, I've only decorated two of my paper bags. That's all I've managed to decorate, okay? So as you can see, here's the pocket. So we started off with January, and then within the pocket, there's the little journaling cards that it doesn't like the lines of. There's one of the tags. You can arrange yours how you want. And then this was one of the journaling cards, which I've attached to a piece of card. Put some backing tea-dyed paper on the back, and it's got a little folded up piece of paper as an envelope stuck inside of that pocket. And then there's some, I don't know. Oh, thank you very much, Northerner, for the full weather forecast there. So I've got a safety pin with some charms on, and again these charms were in the kit that I included. Let me put my hand under and bring them a little bit closer so hopefully you can see. And they are birth signs, okay? So there's Pisces and what's the other one? Yeah, whatever that one is. What's that one? So you tell me. I don't know. Can't remember. So, but they're all relating to each month. So there's two. So there's one for the front one and one for the back. Okay. And then inside the bag, I've used the rest of the kit. And again, I haven't finished these. I've only done temporary measure pictures. Okay. So this was one of the tags. I've just backed it up with some coffee dyed card. I've put one of the note cards in, one of the large ones, and then on the back side of that, if I flip those over, these would then be for February. Bonjour, Carol. Okay, so there's two lots in there, one for the front of the pocket and one for the back of the pocket. And where the gussets are, can you see the gussets here? So it allows you to have a front and it allows you to have a back. So if I put the back side ones in first, you'll see that I'll sit them behind the gusset. Hopefully you can see that, because my silly phone is on a bit of autofocus. So there's the gusset there, look. So they're sitting in the back, and these will sit in front of that gusset bit. So that will be January. Okay, so flip it over. Oh, and I've put some lace on there as well. Flip it over. Same with February, same with March, same with April. Right, but that's as far as I got. Hello there, Barbara, and hello anyone else that has turned up. Because I've been so busy chatting, I've missed you coming in. So hello. So that's going to be the basis of the birthday book. Now, as I say, most people who were on my Facebook group have purchased this kit. This was February's kit that was sent out. But as I say, we are going to be using the digitals as well. All right. So let's make a start, because we need to do a few things in order. And you're also going to need a paper and pen to write down a whole list of measurements. Okay, so you might need to re-watch the video, and you if you're watching it on your phone, you could take a screenshot. All right, so I'll hold the measurements in place in a bit, so you might need to take a screenshot of it or pause it to write the information down. All right, okay, slurp of tea. First things first, because we've got a series of things that we need to do so that they can be off to the side drying before we can do anything with them. Now, this is just a lid from off a box, and this is a tray that I have used burnt umber acrylic painting. Okay. And it dried out and I've just squirted a whole load of water in there. But also in there, which is this dark bit up here, which looks really flaked, is some walnut crystals, which many of you, again, if you are regular to the pop-up shop, you will have purchased some of this from me. I sent it out in little bags, okay, and we're going to use it in this project. All right, so I've squirted a load of water in there. I've got a blob of paint here, but I'm not actually going to mix it up just yet because this has picked up enough colour off the bottom of my tray. So it's picked up some of the old paint that dried out, and it's picked up some of the walnut crystals on there as well. But I want this to be runny. But if you're starting with a fresh clean tray, then you need just a tiny bit of paint, just a little, grab a little off that blob of paint, mix it in a whole load of water so it's really, really runny. Okay, and then I'm just going to tap off some of the excess because I don't want great big blobs, because I want to blob some of this onto the front cover to make it look a little bit older. Okay, so I'm just going to tap it. So I only want a few. Okay, so you can see, look, not done much at all. Just wanted some blobs on there to just give it that slightly more vintage look. The other thing that I've got is, this is an old reel from, it was either a roll of sellotape or a roll of washi tape, and I'm going to use that as well. And I'm just going to dip that into that liquid, and again just tap it, and I'm just going to do that. I blob perfectly. Okay, now mine's an, oh, I've just got paint on there that I didn't want to do. Mine's an inkjet printed image, so I can't afford to get it too wet. I'll take that paint off there, because the colours will just run, and I don't want it to really do that. I mean, if it does, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Okay, let's have a go. Quick blob. There we go. So I want it to look like it's got a couple of coffee rings on there. And no, I think we'll leave it at that. Okay, so I need to leave that now to dry. So I'm going to put that over to the side. I could dry it with me. You know what I mean, don't you? But I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to leave it to dry on its own accord because I've got the central heating on as well. Okay. The next bit that we need to do is we need to paint the piece of fabric. Now, again, in the kit, everyone was given a piece of calico. This is the fabric that we call calico here in the UK. All right, so it's quite a thick and it's a sturdy piece of fabric. Now, the size of this fabric, if I can find my ruler, let's go. There we go. The size of this is bigger than I actually need. And this measures just over 6 inches wide, and lengthwise it is just under 9 inches. Okay, but it needs to be bigger than the cover that we're going to be making, of which I'll show you what I mean by that in a moment. All right, but first of all, I need to paint this. Now, you can paint it whatever colour you want, but I'm painting mine with the burnt umber because it's going on this front section here, onto the spine and round to the back. Right, so I wanted it to blend, so I've gone with the brown. But if you want to do, you know, a different colour, then you can do. Now, I'm going to need quite a lot because it soaks up this really easily. So I'm going to put some more burnt umber in there, and also some more of the walnut crystals. I'm not even going to say anything about that little blob of paint there. And then I'm going to put some water in so that I can mix it up. And I want to put plenty of water in because, as I say, this has got to go quite a way. But I can soon make some more up. And then I'm just going to put, thank you, Sturdy. Yes, that was exactly what I was thinking. Just put a tiny bit of the crystals in. You don't need a lot. And that just darkens it up. All right. Now, I'm going to mix the paint in first. I'm going to try and keep the walnut crystals separate. But I'm going to mix the paint in first, because I want it to be sort of two-tone. So in some places it's darker than others. Okay. And the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this with water. Because it's not very accepting of the liquid when it's dry. So it's better off if you dampen this fabric down first. And just massage it a bit to get the water, because it'll just sit on top. Because most fabrics come with a sort of finish on them, which makes them not accept water very well. And it doesn't matter how saturated you do it. In fact, probably the more saturated the better, to be fair. Because now that water is seeping into the fibres of the fabric, it will accept the paint or dye. You know, use whatever it is that you've got. Don't feel that you've got to go out and go and buy a tube of burnt umber acrylic paint, and don't feel that you've got to go out and go and buy walnut crystals. So you can use any paint that you've got, any dyes that you've got. You could even just coffee dye it. Okay. Hi there, Margaret. Hi, Jenny. Or have I already said hello to you, Jenny? I don't know. I can't remember. I love the way you teach. Oh, thank you. Okay, so you can see, look, I haven't mixed in the water crystals. I keep saying water crystals, don't I? Walnut crystals. I've just got the paint. And as I say, I want it quite liquid. And I'm just going to paint it on. La da 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 dee. Very artistically done this. But again though, can you see I've got some light patches and I've got some dark patches. Okay, and then I'm going to start to mix in some of the walnut crystals, and it's now making it a lot darker. And this time I'm splodging it on. Very technical terminology this. Splodging it on in random spots, which will help to give it that slightly more. Oh, what are you? Get off. Thank you. I'll get off my masterpiece here, which gives it that slightly more authentically vintage look. So I'm now scraping some more of the walnut crystal in. So this is really getting darker now. And you can see where some of the water crystals again, look, walnut crystals have actually, the crystals are there, but they've not dissolved. So I'm just going to keep dabbing them to get some liquid into them to dissolve them a bit. Dab-de-dab-dab-dab. Now I've cut this fabric because I know the width that I'm going to need. Let's have a look. So you can see you don't have to be an artist to do this. You just slap it on, throw it on. Okay, how's that looking in the screen? Let me have a look in the screen. Looking a bit orangey at the minute. Now, there's no reason why, once it's dried, yes, you can, Margaret, but, you know, just for this purpose, it's not necessary. So once it's dried, I can then assess whether I want it a bit darker or whether I'm happy with this colour. If I want it a bit darker, then I would just use just the walnut stain. Okay. But I think that is probably going to dry all right. She says, dabbing it a bit more. Let's add a bit of colour in there. And a bit more in there. Let's say, you don't have to be technical about it. I'm just using a really rubbish brush. That was very brummy, that, wasn't it? A rubbish brush. Hey, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to leave that at that now. All right, so we've done the cover because we need to leave that to dry, and we've done this because we need to leave this to dry because we're going to need that a little bit later on. All right, so I'm actually going to put this underneath my table because that's where my radiator is, and hopefully it will dry it up a little bit quicker so that you can see what it looks like when it's done. But you can see, look, the difference in colour. So this one, I obviously did a lot darker. So I used obviously more of the walnut stain in there. In fact, let's do that now because I do want it darker, I think. So we'll add a bit more. But it's always better to use slightly less and then add a bit more to it than making tons and then finding that you don't need to use it all. So we'll just add some water to that. There we go, that's coming out a bit darker, isn't it? And again, just random, because we want it to have that used and abused look. Actually, you don't want splodges. You want it to sort of blend in a little bit. Well, that's looking better, isn't it? It's not looking quite so orange. Doesn't look quite so tangoed. In fact, I don't mind some of the undissolved crystals in there. That's looking a bit better, isn't it? Oh, sorry, you asked me the question, Margaret. I beg your pudding. I thought you were stating a comment. Can you use hot water to dissolve them? Yes, you can. Was the answer, simple answer to that? Yes. Okay, so yes, quite liking the effect of that. Right, okay, we're calling that bit done. I've no space. Where am I going to put them sort of? There we go. There's a space. So I don't want to knock them over. My craft room is a mess at the minute. Okay, so I'm going to put these under my table nearer the radiator to hopefully let that dry. Again, I could use my on it, but oh, Gordon Bennett. If I put it down there, can I reach it? There we are. You stay there. All right. Next bit. I want piece of card. Piece of card. Piece of card. Now, you'll have to remind me if there's anyone in the UK, because I know that you've received your kits. But I know that the ladies from abroad haven't, because I've only managed to post the kits out today. Yoo-hoo! Because of the cyber attack that went on with our post office. I was unable to post any of the kits out for 2 months. 2 months worth of kits I was unable to post out. Anyway, hey go. Done now, done and dusted. But I can't remember whether I included a sheet of A4 card for you. Now the height that I need this to be needs to be the same height as this digital front here. Okay, so the height of this needs to be, this is nearly dry, just not quite. So this needs to be 7. Oh, you've done that. That's an unusual size, Carol. 7 7/8. Okay. So let's just trim to make sure. So remember that, won't you? 7 7/8. Seven and 7/8. Told you all that way. There we go. Push it right up against there. And let's just test. Let's just test that. Yes. Okay. Now, the length of this, I need it to be 11 inches. What's that Jenny's put? Can't ship, but let a weather balloon float on by. I digress. I don't know what the reference is to the balloon float, but hey-ho. I don't watch the news, so I don't know if anything's happened in the news. Because I asked the guy when I went to the post office today, I said, so what's caused this? It was, oh God, what's the words? Cyber attack. So they said it was a cyber attack. So I said to the guy at the post office, I said, so did you find out what caused the cyber attack? He went, yeah, it was the Russians. I was a bit like, well, that was a bit damning. But I said to him, I don't watch the news, so I don't. So I want the length of this, because I digress, 11 inches, okay? So what was it? 7 7/8 by 11 inches. Now this is just a normal piece of card. It's not too thick, it's not too thin. It's about 120 GSM. What that is in pounds, I'm afraid I don't know. Now this is the bit where you're going to need your pen and paper. So if you want to go and rush off and go and get your pen and paper, whilst I find where I put mine. Where did I put the list with the numbers on? See, you put it somewhere safe. Then you can't find it, can you, Carol? God damn it. Right, let's have a... There we go. I found it. Right. I'm hoping if I hold that there, can you all read those numbers okay? So my piece of card is 7 7/8 inches ish high. So long as it's the same height as the digital cover, then you'll be all right. And the whole width of the piece of card needs to be 11 inches. Okay. And then these are going to be the scoring marks that we do. Great penmanship. Thank you, Sturdy. This was my job a long time ago. All right, so you may need to come back because I can't hold this the whole time. So you may need to come back, pause that part of the video, take a screenshot, but I am going to be reading out these measurements now. All right, so we've got it in landscape. Right, I'm going to use this one. So the first measurement is going to be 1 inch. And I'm going to give you a bit of additional information as well in a second. And the next measurement is 1.5 inches. Now these two measurements are going to be the same at this end as well. This part here is going to stick onto the front cover. This part here is going to stick onto the spine. All right, you'll understand what I mean when I come to it in a bit, but at least you know now, front cover, spine, and it's going to be the same at this side, back cover, spine. All right, so now all the bits in between. So next one is 2 inch, 2.5 inch, 2 7/8, 3 3/8, 3 7/8. Someone's going to shout bingo in a minute, isn't there? 4 1/4, 4 3/4, 5 1/4, and I'm sorry I've only got these in inches, not in centimetres. 5 5/8, 6 1/8, 6 5/8, 7, 7.5, 8, 8 3/8, 8 7/8, 9 3/8, and 9 7/8. Okay, so if you remember the last two, so that's going to go on the back cover and that's going to go on the spine. That's going to go on the front cover, that's going to go on the spine, and then everything in between we're going to make up the spine itself. So we're going to make like little peaks and folds and what have you. Now if we ignore these first two, when you come to look at your own, you'll notice you've got 2 the same size and then a smaller one, 2 the same size and then a smaller one, 2 the same size and then a smaller one. You get the gist? 2 the same size and then a smaller one. 2 the same size, we're going to lift those up and stick them together. The smaller one is going to form the back of the spine. Okay, all will become clear, I promise. Now I'm doing it this way. I realise that some of you will know how to do this already, but there's also a case of some people haven't done this before. All right, so first 2 we're going to leave, we're not going to touch those, and the next 2 we're going to fold them up. So we're going to leave this one and this one, and we're going to fold this one there and crease it. And then I'm going to push down, holding on to that, and it should force it to do that. Okay, so it's formed like a little flap bit there, and we're going to eventually stick those 2 together. Now if you remember, I said we've got 2 the same size and then a small bit, so the small bit is going to be the flat bit. So the next 2 I'm just going to pull that out to make it easier. The next two, we're going to do the same again. We're going to fold them backwards like that. Fold it. And then we're going to hold it and then push down, and it should push into the creases. Excuse the brown, that's off my nail varnish. So it now looks like that. So if you imagine those two stuck together, can you see how we've got these flaps and then a bit that's flat in the middle? Okay, so the flat bit is the little one, and then the next two that are the same size, we're going to do that again. So we're going to fold those. Push down. Okay, so you can see it coming together. Right, the next one's a flat one. The next two we want to push together. Now, you could write in pencil on these if it makes it easier for you. Okay, so you could put push together, PT, push together. And then F for flat. Right, so next one's flat. The next two we're going to push together. And then push down. Okay, flat, two to push together. And then push down. Okay, and then the last two we're going to leave, because that one goes on the spine and that one goes on the back cover. So we've got front cover, spine, woo, a little mountain, flat, woo, another mountain, flat, woo, sorry about the noises, flat, woo, another mountain, flat, woo, another mountain and flat, and woo, another mountain, back, spine, back cover. Okay, and we're going to flip it over and we're going to stick those woos together. Now you can use your double-sided tape if you want. I don't like it very much. I like me glue. Okay, but you've got to remember which bit's which. So if I pull that open a bit, I can see that my mountain there has now become a valley. So I'm going to put some, come on. I put some glue in there, but as I say, you can use your double-sided tape if you so wish, because you've got to make sure that you don't put too much glue on if you're using glue, because you don't want it oozing out everywhere. Okay, so I've put the glue in that valley bit, and I'm going to flip it back over, and I'm going to push those two together and push down. So now those two are stuck together and they formed a solid ridge. Okay, so you can see, look, where these haven't been stuck together yet, and that one has. Okay, and you do continue doing that all the way along. So we'll do the next one. And I'm only putting glue on one side of this card. I'm not putting it on both sides of the mountain, only on one. I'm going to flip it back over and I'm going to push those two together and push down. Okay, so you can now see, look, two are together, oops, two are stuck together and the rest are loose. Okay, so you continue across till you've got 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And here's one I made earlier. There we go. Okay, so that's the one that I've made earlier. So you can see that it's formed this flat back where those, you know, I said you've got two that are going to stick together and then you've got a flat bit. These are all the flat bits that are on the back, and on the front we've got these have been stuck together. Okay, and that's what we need. And that area from this first score line to that last score line, that's going to be the spine for this book. Okay, all will become clear. Don't go into panic mode just yet. So has anyone got any questions so far whilst I have a slurp of my cup of tea? Self sorted for the next step. Want them. Oh. How do you stick? Oh, you've attracted that, Margaret. I was just reading that. You have to make the noise as you're doing it. You have to do the woo. Otherwise it doesn't work. How do you stitch through this spine? You don't. We're not going to stitch. You'll see. All will be revealed. Okay, so this is the cover. It's now dry. I'm going to cut off this excess white because I don't want to be wasting my glue. I'm only cutting it off roughly. Just cutting off the excess. Okay, and I'm going to use one of my Amazon A3 envelopes because this is quite nice sturdy card and it was free. Well, it wasn't free because obviously I had to purchase something. Let's just chop through that to open it up. Let's go rip that bit and chop through this other end so that I can open it up. Now you could use a cereal box or whatever other form of packaging card you've got. Away up. Oh, there we go. And we're back. And just do a wibble wobble on my computer before it shuts it down. Tell it I'm still using it. Okay. Now, I'm not going to use this bit on the back because this is where all those bits are that have been folded over. So I'm going to use the front section where it's completely flat. Did I fit it on that way? No, I didn't. I fitted it on that way. Okay. Now I'm going to use my collal glue. Where am I? Where's it gone? Oh, hang on a minute. It's over the other side of the room. Oh, come on, poor bones. I might need to just fill this back up again. So what I do with my collal glue, quick tip for you here, is I get a tub of collal glue. But then I buy a big bottle, not 1,000 millilitres, and I'll just keep refilling this bottle up. In fact, I've got two, but I don't know where the other one is at the minute. So we'll just put a bit more in there because it was cheaper to buy the really big bottle than it was to buy the little ones. So as I say, I bought a little one to start with, and then I just keep refilling it up with this big one. There we go. And I like this glue because it sticks paper really well. It stays wet enough for long enough to give you a little bit of wiggle room. So it's called Collal. It's a glue, Jenny. Okay, it's just a universal all-purpose glue. Get it on Amazon, and I think if you use my Amazon affiliate link, I've got this listed down in the glue section. Okay, but I like it because it's nice and thin. Sometimes when you're gluing paper to something, if I use this, my Tombow glue, sorry, it's all, hang on, it's twisted round. My Tombow multi-glue, because it's quite thick, it leaves ridges, whereas this is flatter. Okay, so this is Tombow liquid glue, but it's white but thicker. This is Collal glue, and it's clear and thinner. Okay, so that's why I'm using the Collal, because it's thinner. Okay, so I'm going to cover the whole of the back of this by going around the four sides. It takes a bit of practice to open the nozzle to the right width. So I'm going to glue it all around, all four sides. So you can see, look, it's clear. You can't see it. And then I'm going to cover it all the way over. Make sure I've got lots on. And then I'm just going to stick it to this. Press it down firmly. Thank you for the reminder for everyone, Pat. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I've actually got, Jenny, I've actually got a video. If you go onto my YouTube channel and put in the search button in my particular section, not YouTube search section, but on my YouTube channel, where it's got my banner then, and it's got the list here of video, lives, blah, 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 blah. There's a little search button. If you type in there, glue, I've got a video on the glues that I like to use and why. Okay. Okay. Again, I'm just going to cut this out roughly, because I'll trim it down on my paper trimmer. Okay, now I'm going to keep this because I'm going to need it again in a bit. Okay. Now I'm going to cut this down to size, and it's going to end up being two separate pieces. So we'll do around all four sides first. So I'm butting it right up to the edge of the digi image. And then I'm going to cut down there. That one didn't cut through. Okay, so that's one piece. And spin it round. Cut off the other excess bit of white. So now I've got two separate pieces. Okay, and then put the rubbish in the bin, get rid of that for a minute. Okay, so I've now got a front cover and a back cover. And then this is going to go by me attaching that onto that. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure it first. So I'm going to fold that first one in, and I'm going to fold that other one in. As I say, I think I've got it on my Amazon affiliate link, and I'm just going to bend them down. And then I'm going to measure that flat area. They said Carol bought it all. You're cheeky. I've had that for ages, actually, that bottle. It's well over a year ago since I last bought some. Okay, so the measurement of this is 3 1/8. Okay. Now what you need to remember, just wiggle me thingy on my computer. Where this fold line is here, all right? So if you imagine that that's the fold line. If I measure outside of the fold line across to the outside of that fold line, it will be the wrong measurement. Okay, so this is my fold line. I need to measure from this side of the fold line to this side of the fold line so that it's the right size that I need to cut. Okay, so it's 3 1/8 for me wide, and then height wise it was 7 7/8. Okay, so 3 1/8. Yeah, 3 1/8. Can someone remember that? 3 1/8 by 7 7/8. 3 1/8 by 7 7/8. 3 1/8 by 7 7/8. And then again with my other bit of packaging, let's get rid of some of this excess stuff. Okay, get rid of you. 3 1/8 wide, 3 1/8 wide, 3 1/8. Get rid of that. That's going to get on my nerves. 3 1/8 wide. Oh, got a straight edge there. Let's chop that bit off. Turn it over, Carol. Turn it over. There we go. Right. Now do it. Right. 3 1/8. Okay. It's 3 1/8 by, I'm going to chop that folded bit off there. By 7 7/8. 7 7/8. 7 7/8. And this now is going to be my spine. Not mine personally. Mine's made up of bone. Okay, so I've got that spine bit of card, the two covers, and my pleated bit. Okay, so I'm going to flip it over so that these are now facing upwards, and that's going to be the back cover, and that's going to be the front cover. Okay, now I'm going to stick that first fold onto the card. but it's going to line up with the edge of that fold, that score line that we had there. So if I flip it over and add glue onto the back, and get some wobbly lines up to that score mark. Flip that over, and that is going to sit right there. Oh, moved. Just keep checking it. Stick that down. Okay, so that's the first one done. Now I'm going to put glue on this one. Again, up to that first fold mark. Now sometimes when you watch videos like this, you get a little bit like, oh my God, there's so many steps to it. But just do it step by step. Just the same as you would if you were baking something for the first time. You read the instruction, you do it. Okay, flip that over. Stick that on there. Up to that first fold line. Flip it back over. So if you're following along with the video to make yours, keep pausing it. Okay, so what we've got now is that wee wibbly wobbly. Okay, that's moved a little bit, don't move. Now if we flip it over again, if you stick now this piece of card on top of there, and you should end up with a slight gap in between the front cover and the edge of the card. The front cover and the edge of the card. Okay, so we're going to sit that onto the back of this. Like glue. Do it that way. And this is where I'm using the Tombow glue because it's stronger than the collal glue. Collal glue is great for paper, but for card I would use this Tombow multi-purpose glue because, as I say, it is a lot stronger. And that's going to sit on there like that. Right, just going to leave that there for a second to just dry a little. So that score mark, the score mark on this card is right in that gap there. Right in that gap, okay? And I'm going to use my bone folder to just make sure that it's stuck down and go in between and go in between. So I'm basically pushing those flat parts to that card to make it stick. And what you should have then is that should close. It hasn't quite stuck up here yet. Need to leave it for a bit really. Okay, so now we've got the flat part and then we've got the slots here. And that there, where it's bending, is where that crease mark is. Okay, you can see, look, it's not stuck properly yet. I need to really leave it to stick. Right, does anyone have any questions they would like to ask so far? And as you can see, look, it bends really easily. Whereas sometimes when you put paper and card together like that, it doesn't bend. And that's because we've left that small gap in there. Is everybody with me so far? That's still making me chuckle. Sturdy, you saying they said Carol bought it all. I didn't. Just wait and see if anyone's got any questions for me. I am going to leave it at that for now, for tonight, because I don't want to bamboozle you with too much. But there is some prep that you can do. So, I just gather me bits. So if you want to, because obviously it's, you know, different time. So for you over in America and Canada, it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you do this now, you'll be done before tea. Which means that you might want to do something else a bit later on. But you see, like these pages, this page here, that is going to go on the inside front cover here. So you could cut that out to the size that it is ready. Okay, which is what I'll do ready for tomorrow. I don't want you to cut these little pockets out because I've got a little bit of a tip about that. I know what else you can do if you want to. Paper bags. So these paper bags that you got in your kit, they're too long. You can see, look, way too long. So they need to be cut down to size. So they need to be cut to there. All right, let's just do one. And I'll show you why you don't need to stitch these in place, Margaret. All right, keep this little bit because it actually makes an interesting little pocket that you can use somewhere else. But this is the bag, not cut very well. Oh God, that's as straight as a donkey's hind leg. Okay, I've actually cut it too short, but you'll get the gist. So yeah, so you could cut your bags down to size. So if you cut that piece of paper ready, you can then cut round the edges, cut your paper bags to the correct size that are straight and not woo. Okay, and get to this point. Then hopefully by tomorrow the fabric will be dry. Let's have a quick look at the fabric and see how that's doing. See, now, you know when people say, oh, my desk is such a mess, it's because you need all your bits around you organised. A donkey's hind leg. So if you have a look at a horse's hind leg or a donkey's hind leg, they're curvy. And that's what we call cutting it as straight as a donkey's hind leg. In other words, it's not. But anyway, when it comes to having a tidy desk and working, if you have everything sort of lined up around you, somewhere to put your scissors, put away. Somewhere to put your glue, put it away when you're not using it. Somewhere to put your ruler, put it away when you're not using it. And then it leaves you, because the amount of comments I get of like, your table always looks so tidy, Carol, when you're working. Yeah, that's because I've allocated little spots around me to put my things away as I'm working, so that I've always got a clear desk. Now, the rest of my room looks like a bomb's gone off. But my desk is clear. Okay. So that's the stage that you need to be at for tomorrow night's class. Daryl, I think you're kind of watching a bit of a replay. It does undistort itself in a bit. There you go. Whatever you changed works like a charm. I didn't change nothing. It was just the phone. Phone did it itself. But thank you, Daryl. Okay. So, no questions. No one got anything that they want to ask me. Before I go shooting off to go and do myself and my granddaughter our dinner. And then we can sit with our feet up for the rest of the night. Thank you very much, Daryl. Daryl's put, what a beautiful set of digitals. Thank you. Okay, guys. Well, seeing as nobody seems to have any questions, I'm going to go and shoot off. Go and do my bacon and eggs, which is what we're having for our dinner. And black pudding. Oh, gotta love a bit of black pudding. Oh, that's what I said. We were going to have a look at the fabric, didn't it? Oh. There we go. Yeah, it's still very wet. Ooh, got ink all over my fingers now. Don't touch your book, Carol. So that's going to take overnight to dry. But thank you very much for joining me. It's been lovely to have you here. If you're new to my channel, please click on the thumbs up and the share bit. If you've enjoyed what you've watched, if you would like to subscribe, that would be lovely as well. Because it's always lovely to see new people join us. I don't always do lives, and I don't always do it on a particular day. It depends on a project. It depends how I'm feeling health-wise. Let me just turn that off, because it's going to keep doing that, I think. There we go. So it's lives are a little bit hit and miss as to when I do them. Oh yes, so that was what I was going to tell you. So this piece of fabric, because I know what that measurement was, that's why that piece of fabric is the size that you've got in your kit, because I know that it's going to cover that width of that spine. Okay, but I'm going to leave that now to just dry before I do any more to it. So I'll be back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock UK time again. I know that in New York you're 5 hours behind me, so that means it would be 2 o'clock in the afternoon if you were in New York. And I know that if you were over on the on the west coast of America, this is just a guide, you're about 8 hours behind. So what's that? 11 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so that's just to give you a rough idea of what time I'll be back on tomorrow night to carry on working on this. Okay, thank you for joining me again. I'm off now. See you all later, alligators, and thanks again. Bye.